Tyranny of Dragons is a huge and complex campaign that can span over months or even a year or two. And while it has its highlights, for example, Zonthal Tower has become one of my favorite dungeons in D&D, it might be a tough pill to swallow for a DM, as in my opinion, a lot of what's happening in the story has a very questionable logic to it. As a result, big chunks of narration can leave players confused, bored, or even frustrated. So I'd like to clarify some things for you, such as the structure of the cult, their goals and timings, and the desirable pacing of the entire campaign, or how best to present information to your players. And in this video in particular, we're going to have a look at the Hoard of the Dragon Queen adventure. You're watching Lutes&Dice, and I'm your bard, Folkard. As I was writing an episode about the second chapter of the Hoard of the Dragon Queen, I wanted to give a broader idea of the cult and how would it look like from the inside, as the chapter is focused on infiltrating the enemy camp. And I realized that before continuing with the story, it would be great to clarify the entire behind-the-scenes situation. What is the goal of the Hoard of the Dragon Queen adventure and the follow-up The Rise of Tiamat? What is the place of the adventurers in all this, and what exactly the cult is doing at a given time? I'll give you my approach to all this as someone who ran this monstrosity and got feedback from the players on different stages of the campaign. But remember that it's just my opinion that I hope will help you, the DM, and make your life easier. And so this campaign consists of two equally big parts, Hoard of the Dragon Queen and The Rise of Tiamat. Being parts of one big picture, I would still separate them conceptually. The conflict is the following. The world is threatened by a hellish godlike entity that is about to enter and destroy normal life on Toril. The adventurers are obviously expected to help stop this from happening. They start knowing almost nothing about this problem, and they end by actually defeating Tiamat in combat. The first part, Hoard of the Dragon Queen, is about accumulating information, a relatively passive act of collecting intelligence up to the point where all the stakes are clear. The second part, The Rise of Tiamat, is about active use of that information to prepare for war, disrupt the plans of the cult, and engage in the final confrontation. Now I will delve deeper into the Hoard of the Dragon Queen structure. The following is my interpretation of the logic behind the events of the book. Some of it may perfectly match the source material, and some of it may add and clarify in a way that makes more sense to me and hopefully to you. In this book, the adventurers do the following. Get involved in the conflict with the cult. Learn that the cult is possibly preparing something dangerous. Get hired to investigate its plans. Disrupt its plans by capturing a bunch of treasure. Reveal the entire scheme that raises the stakes even more. Here are some issues that me and my players had. The plan to bring Tiamat was revealed way too soon. The pacing of feeding the players with information should be smooth, with rising tension. Leosin's action and motivations are unclear. What did he learn in Candlekeep? Why does he even need the characters for collecting intelligence if he is a member of the Harpers, a faction full of spies? The adventure's climax could have been way more impactful. Now let's get into the details, starting with what led to these events. Heavily involved factions in this campaign are the Harpers, a good aligned network of spies trying to preserve the balance of power, and the Order of the Gauntlet, equally good but quite the opposite in methods, an order of warriors that are quite vocal about their achievements. Leosin Erlenthar, a Harper, and Ontar Froom, a Gauntlet guy, are friends. The Cult of the Dragon is known among the people of the Sword Coast by their shenanigans of the past. Yet they have been known for raising Dracoliches, not worshipping living dragons. A few weeks ago, the cult started raiding small settlements, only small ones, possibly on frontiers, to keep away the attention of lords and kings. Leosin Erlenthar, being a concerned Harper, started investigating this matter. He had learned that they are trying to involve living dragons and are possibly preparing for something ominous. He and his fellow monks went to Candlekeep to do research about dragons. There he had found some piece of lore that concerned him even more. Besides that, he had managed to deduct the cult's next target, Greenest. With the help of the adventurers, he learns that the cult is gathering treasure and heading north to some kind of hideout. Leosin and Onthar offer the adventurers to join their factions and help them investigate the cult. Their main concern is that the cult has shifted their attention from eastern lands to the Sword Coast, the living dragons, and the worshipping of Tiamat. At this point, neither players nor the factions should know that the plan is to bring Tiamat to this world. The reason why the adventurers are being involved is that Leosine believes that this is serious. The lore found in Candlekeep tells about ancient dragon masks granted to mortals by Tiamat. Their powers allows the wearer to gain favor among dragons. He thinks that this has to be the reason why the cult has shifted their focus to living dragons. They must have found a mask or two. But Leosine has no real evidence to be able to sound the alarm, and his peers will not provide resources, being busy with politics. Arthur trusts his friend's senses and wants to help. That lore situation is very important because it's partially a red herring. While it has a certain amount of truth, it can lead players to believe that this is what it's all about, speaking with dragons and conquering the Sword Coast with their help. And the stolen treasure might be just a payment. The PCs take on the job and join the caravan. The tension grows as they learn on the way that for some reason Red Wizards of Thay are involved in this mystery. But the low-ranked cult members do not carry any really important information, other than their strict mission: deliver and don't ask questions. Some of them are there for money, others are only initiates. Eventually, the adventurers infiltrate the Flying Castle, where they confront one of the highest-ranked members, Razmir the Black Wyrmspeaker, and a powerful Wizard of Thay, Reth Modar. They get the mask and the treasure, but before they get a chance to celebrate their victory, they find evidence that the real goal of the cult all along was to bring Tiamat from the Nine Hells to this world, and this was just a part of the Great Hoard. And aside from this, the cult is gathering hundreds of prisoners to sacrifice in a horrible ritual, and the masks are the key to this ritual, and not only what they thought it was. This is going to be an impactful cliffhanger before jumping to the next part. Now I want to remind you that some of it I made up, so don't be confused when you compare my story to the book. The book doesn't say what had Leosine learned in Candlekeep. I've also emphasized that he doesn't have sufficient evidence to act in full strength. That's why he wants somebody he trusts to help him with the investigation. This is also the reason why Leosine should be a trusted friend or relative to one of the PCs. Otherwise, why would he trust them with the fate of the world? The book also reveals too many hints about the cult's plan to bring Tiamat to life, and I believe that it should be saved for the climax. The players should believe that the Sword Coast will delve into a war with the dragons, a dreadful knowledge on its own, worthy of a campaign. And after many sessions of play, they learn that it's far more crazy, basically an apocalypse around the corner. And the important thing is, it doesn't ruin their expectations, it just multiplies them. That's it for now, but next on this series we're going to have a similar breakdown of the rise of Tiamat, and we'll finally delve into separate chapters in detail. For now, you can check out my guide to the first chapter, Greenest in Flames, which by the way was the first ever video on this channel. Also, stay tuned for the Dragon of Icespire Peak guide, coming just in a few days. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.